The meal I prepared is called mâncare de măsline, which is translated to food made out of olives. And it is a meal that my grandma used to cook when I was a kid. And she would make this really often because it doesn't have a lot of ingredients, but it's really tasty and I used to love it. And that's why I chose to do it. Okay, no, I need a break. My grandma used to have her friends coming over quite often, and they would cook a lot together. It would be her and two of her friends there, and she would come to pick me up from kindergarten, but her friends would wait for us in my grandma's kitchen, and they would just continue cooking, and they would also cook what my grandma was cooking for me, and they just like to cook. It also reminds me of the friendship that they had. The smell of this food is tied to the smell I imagine my grandma's house to be. It is very comforting, and I especially imagine it in either a very hot day, like a summer day when it's like 40 degrees outside, or I imagine it being a very cold winter day, like it needs to be extreme weather outside. And I think it's also tied to that and to the comfort that you have being inside when this sort of weather is outside. And then it's this like warmth and nice smell. When my grandma would make this, I would eat the olives beforehand because she would buy this from this store that would they weren't canned or anything. You would just scoop them out, and I would eat the olives before she would make this, and she would be like, "No, Diana, stop eating the olives." Normally, this would be made with wine made in the family, and almost every Romanian makes their own wine. But we gotta do what we gotta do. We are in the Netherlands. Most important ingredient that keeps the vampires away: garlic. I haven't felt this smell in a while, so it's nice. After I moved to the Netherlands, I went back to it, but I went back to variations of it or what I would remember. I wouldn't cook it exactly like this because I had to call my grandma like 3 times to get full recipe to make it today. But I'm really glad I did it because I will do it more often. The corner, the best part ever. Let's try. Mm-hmm.
Could replace my eyes with olives.
She cooked.
As a child, I really loved food. And through my life, I used to like stand a lot with my auntie in the kitchen, watching her, what she's doing, helping in food and so on. So that kind of created relation between me and food in a specific way. النهارده 14 أو 15 حاجة كده. People relate traditions with religion. So I remember my auntie, before she put the food in the pot, she always have to say Bismillah. So Bismillah. So for me, bamia, it's one of the food that I do remember a lot of stories with it on how I used to go to the market in Egypt and buy the okra. It's a process. It's not just like a dish that you ate and you go search for it in the market. You get the ingredients, you go back home, your family start cooking, you are waiting for the food, smelling the food getting cooked and so on. If my mom saw me doing this, she will kill me. Because this is too much. I should take as much as I can, not through the food. I'll try, but like, you should not through out of it unless it's bad. Tomato! I need music. So when I was a kid, usually this was the main things I allowed to do. So she leaves me like in home. They usually leave us to steer the things because you're not yet professional to do other things. So making sure it will not burn. Until now, I'm still afraid to get burned, even though it was the most thing that I'm used to do. In the culture, food is a really important thing. And we do have a word in Egypt, it's called عيش وملح, which means salt and bread. Food connects people. If someone ate with other person, we say we eat salt and bread together, and that means that we cannot hurt each other or like be bad to each other. Yeah. Smells like home. Okay, one word we say, Yalla Bismillah. When you eat with your family, the dish itself and everything, it's different than you just eat it here by yourself. That's why in general I do it with friends and we all eat together, so it's kind of something that gathers us, but at the same time alone it wouldn't be such of importance. Whatever you have in your kitchen, you can make something good, but you just need to do it with love. Like you need to love what you are doing, and then I think you would be able to do any recipe in a good way.
So this was a recipe that is my grandma's recipe. It's called kubebka. It is like vine leaves stuffed with a meat and rice mixture. My parents were never really that into cooking. I only have maybe like 2 memories of making this at home with my mom and the grandmother whose recipe I used for this dish. She moved to Australia when I was really, really young, so I never really got to experience this with her. Ever since I was like really, really little, like I always loved cooking. My parents had me this like little plastic kitchen that was right next to like my parents' kitchen, and like whenever they were cooking, I would sit there and like cook with them. But we also have like this cookbook at home, which is just like a collection of recipes that my parents like have written down from like other family members, from like our ancestors and everything. Perfect. God, I haven't done this in so long. This is also just like such a communal thing. Like, you know, usually families will just dedicate like whole days to like rolling these. This is always something that I want to do when I'm back home with my family, but it's just never really happened. It's something that I miss a lot because it's not something I ever thought that I could just make. So then I was like, okay, well, you know, what if I just learn how to make it? Like, this is something that felt so exclusive to me my whole life. This is fine. We're doing fine. Whenever I meet new people or make friends with people, I think that like sharing food is like one of the best ways to get to know someone. And I always try to like learn recipes off of them. Yeah. And I've had like some of the nicest like bonding experiences I've ever had with people, even people that I'm not even particularly close to, because of food. I think nostalgia is like this evil, like sort of like patterned like way of thinking to like fall into. Okay, I'll call you later.
Okay, ai, deu super. Okay, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. And even like as a cultural phenomenon, I find it like really fascinating, but in a very like concerning way. Because when I was younger, I just thought nostalgia was like, oh, you just miss stuff from your childhood, you know. And I thought that's kind of where it ended. But we are forgetting the things that are happening right now and trying to romanticize something from the past that, one, we could never get back again, and two, was never even that great to begin with. But I find that the one constant that has remained throughout all of this has been the food. And like that's why food is so important to me, not because like when I cook it or when I eat it it brings me back to a certain time, but it's because it's the one thing that has stayed with me throughout all of this time.
في آخر قهوة فتلتي What the